to them, to the government ignored it. So they finally decided to have a rebellion. The first meeting they had when Louis Riel came back in August of '84, they had it on the 1st of January, which was my great-grandfather Boyer's house in Batoche. He had the biggest house that was there. It also became, after the rebellion, it also became the barracks for the RCMP. After the rebellion, they turned around and the RCMPs took everything out of his building, all his furs, everything, and for 12 miles, all the way to St. Louis, you could see where they cut up all his furs, all the way straight through. And my grandfather was the fact that he owned 2 stores, one on the north side, one on the south side. He was the man that supplied the gunpowder as much as he had for them. His brother Louis, or William as they call him, William Boyer, decided that he was going to try to stop the rebellion. Louis Riel threw him in jail. He stayed there until the end of the rebellion. The 2 brothers never did speak to each other from that day on. William went, his family went one way, Batoche went that way. My mother is a Boyer, and she's told me some stories. They lived in Saint Laurent, which is 8 miles from Batoche. And that's where my mother and my dad were born and raised. The Batoche, Louis Riel started I lost the word for it. Anyway, for making laws, which they did in Saint Laurent in 1873, is when they had their settlements. For stealing a horse, they did this, and so much for that, and all the rest of the things. Also, the church in Saint Laurent has been burnt down 3 times. There's a shrine there. I don't know if how many people know this. They have a shrine there that the church has burnt down 3 different times to the ground. The only thing that has never burnt is the cross. Now, the last one was in the 60s, so they rebuilt this church, and they've put the same cross up there. But back to Batoche now, the thing, when the rebellion went on, what do I do with those things now? Oh. The first battle was Duck Lake, where Gabriel's brother got killed. He was killed by the first shot. This is Fish Creek. That's yeah. Cut knife. And this is the Battle of Batoche. The reason that the Battle of Batoche lasted only 3 days was because the priests played a trick on them. What the priest did in the rectory, he raised a white flag. So the people coming from the north and the south side, they seen, when they arrived over the hills, they seen the white flag and said, well, the battle's over. But they didn't realize that the priest had put up the white flag. He put the white flag up in order for the artillery not to fire their cannons into the rectory because the people were there. That was the reason why the white flag was put up. But the natives didn't know about it. The rest of the Métis didn't know it coming from Battleford, Duck Lake area. Horse Lake, all them places, and the other one's coming from Belleville, St. Louis, and doesn't matter, forgot his name. But anyway, they all didn't see the flag, the white flag, well, it's over. And that was the thing, the one reason why it only lasted 3 days. When they, contrary to what people say, the Battle of Batoche, they say that Louis Riel was caught. Louis Riel was never captured. Louis Riel never fired a shot in his life. The only thing his weapon was his pen. But they tried him. His lawyer wanted him to plead insanity. He wouldn't, because of the fact that he wasn't. So of course you all know, some people know, they hung him on the 16th of November 1885. A lot of people think that the body of Louis Riel was sent immediately to St. Boniface. Not so. The body of Louis Riel stayed inside of the church in Regina for 2 weeks. Pascal Bonneau and his dad guarded Louis Riel's body in that church for 2 weeks without any heat, without anything. And they were armed because the people were trying to desegregate the body. But it took 2 weeks for MacDonald to decide that what he was going to do with it. After 2 weeks, they turned around and he sent a boxcar in, and they parked it half a mile down from the church. Pascal Bonneau picked up Louis Riel's frozen body and put it on his shoulder and carried him for that half mile to the boxcar in order that the people would not find out about it. It was done in the middle of the night. The body was then sent to St. Boniface, where he is buried today, and where they have a special day for him in Manitoba. That's basically all that happened to Louis Riel that I know of Batoche. So if you have questions, I'll try to answer it. The next thing is prepare.
Just to add to that, the church that you speak of, that's in Regina, is on depot grounds.
Yep.
And that stands as the oldest building in Regina.
Yep.
And it's quite a place to see. I've had an occasion to go there for work, and it's quite a unique building. Like you can feel the presence of a lot of history in that building when you go in there.
Yep. When I joined the military, that was one of the first places I went to in Regina after I signed up. I went there to that church. And it is, like you say, it is it's a moving place to go to. That's the same as with that shrine that they have in Saint Laurent. They've had miracles performed there, everything. Okay, we'll go to herbs. I'll try to tell you a little bit about some of the herbs that I know of. I don't have, well, you can't find herbs, you'll find very little herbs at this time of the year. But plantain is one of the most important plants there is for infections, cuts, colds, sore bones, bee stings. You take one of the leaves from the plant and you either crack it or chew it and put it on the bee sting, and in a matter of a few seconds it's gone. Let's see, what else have we got here? Strawberries. Wild strawberries is not the commercial type. The wild strawberries are good, extremely good for children that have colic and different things like that. You make a tea out of it and you make them drink it. Dandelion.
Out of the leaves or the...
Out of the leaves and the roots. You can use the roots also. Dandelions is one of the things that you can use for almost anything. My grandparents, while they were in Batoche and Saladon, we used to gather the dandelion and we used the flower. And what they done with the flower, two things. They took the pollen off the flower and put it inside the jars and dried it. Or put it on a tray and they dry it and then put it in the jar. And what they've done with the pollen, in the wintertime, the cows didn't get the fresh green grass like they do here in BC. So to color the butter yellow, they would put the pollen into the butter when they were mixing it. And it would turn yellow. The other thing that you use for is the leaves. The leaves are good for salads, they're good for soups, they're good for, it's a food that you have vegetables. You can use it for everything. You can use it for tea. It's good for arthritis. It's also good for rheumatism and everyday chest congestion. You can take the leaves, blanch them, freeze them, and then put them, cook them when you want to use them as a vegetable, and you put a little bit of olive oil and lemon juice on top of over them, and eat them, and they're just like fresh coming out of there. It's like spinach, it's fresh. The root, you can use it by making a tea with it. It's good for arthritis, and you can dry it. If a person has a lot of leg problems or muscle problem things, you take the dry root, cut a hunk off of it, and chew it. Because all the medicinal things are in the root. So you dry it and you chew it, and it's an excellent medicine. The only thing is you have to worry about these things is you can't go out and get them when you're spraying Roundup and the thing, because it goes into the root, of course. So it has to be no sprayer allowed inside of it. Pigweed. A lot of people know about pigweed. Other English people call it lamb's quarters. I don't know why, it doesn't look like a lamb quarter to me. But anyway, that's what they do. Pigweed is very good. It's like a spinach. You can eat that until about July. And it's very good for your health. It cleans out your system. It purifies your